Hey everybody, I'm back today with a video and project for Wild Whisper. I am going to be using lots of different stamp sets, and I'm going to be using the Chaos and Love collection and a very neutral color palette. I'm going to be scrapbooking a heritage photo today, so that's going to be fun. So I'm starting with my pattern papers. I don't want to use them all. I just want to use a couple of them. I'm going to go through the papers. I'm going to pull out anything that's too modern looking. I'm going to pull out anything that has like the greens or the blues in it. I really want the soft kind of subtle patterns, and then I am going to add a bit of that black and white floral, as well as using the black ink to stamp my title, because we are going to do lots and lots and lots of stamping. So I'm going to go through the papers that I have first, choose the ones that I want to include on my layout today, including that branding strip. Now I'm going to take the pieces that I do have that I want to use, and I'm going to cut them down. I'm going to create a vertical styled layout today. So I'm going to use strips of paper, and I'm going to create a center piece down the middle of my page with those strips of paper and blocks of paper, kind of overlap them. And the other thing that I'm going to do is then add some organic elements with a bunch of the stamp sets. I'm using that branding strip to kind of start and end my section of papers. I really like this family paper, the ombre. It's probably my favorite. I keep using it, but that's okay because it's going to work perfectly for my layout today. And you can see here, I'm just going to go through and kind of cut these papers down into blocks. They're going to be different lengths, different widths, and I'm going to let them kind of layer up and to create this kind of center section on my page. I'm going to cut a piece of this pretty floral pattern paper for the center part of my layout, but then I'm also going to cut a photo mat to back behind my photo. You can kind of see the idea that I'm using here. This isn't exactly how it's going to come together when I'm all finished, but it's really close to this. I just want to add some stamped pieces. So once I have my photo matted, I'm going to kind of make a little bit of room for it, kind of smoosh everything up and down. And I know that I want to add some stamping behind this center section. So right now it's looking very linear. We have all these kind of right angles, everything's a rectangle, that kind of thing. That's not really what I want. I want to add some organic stamping and florals behind all of these strips. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab my pencil and I'm going to just make a couple of pencil marks. That's going to help me so that I know where all these strips of paper are going to be. And that way I don't stamp more than what I need on my page. I want to make sure that I have these areas of florals just kind of peeking out and around different sections of this strip of paper. I don't want it to be obvious. Well, I guess it is going to be obvious, but I don't want it to be super obvious, I guess, that I have this, line down the middle of my page. I really want to be able to have these floral pieces. I'm going to ink all of these little strips with Vintage Photo Distress Oxide ink. Then I'm going to go ahead and grab my ginormous Misty and do a bunch of stamping. So I have my little guidelines to help me. I'm going to be stamping images from 3 different stamp sets in Macchiato, Buttercream, and Sandcastle ink colors from Catherine Pooler. And I'm going to be using a couple of different stamp sets from Wild Whisper any of the stamp sets or products that I can find available for purchase, either at the Wild Whisperer shop or at a Cherry on Top, I will link them up in the comments down below. This first one is the Happy Tales stamp set, which technically has a pet theme, but even if you don't have any pets in your life, this stamp set has the prettiest hand-drawn florals. I love them. And it is somehow still available over at Wild Whisper's website. I'm also going to be using Nicole Wright's Botanic stamp set. And the third one is an older stamp set from Pam Bray. And I'm just using the B from that one. So we're going to do lots of florals. And then once I have these stamps on either side going down, I'm going to go ahead and stamp some more onto 2 pieces of scrap paper, craft paper, and white paper, and fussy cut them out. I'm starting with the larger images and my darkest ink, and I'm using those guidelines to help me know where to place the stamps at on my background paper. Once I have the larger, darker images in place, I am going to come in with the lighter inks and the smaller stamp sets. And I'm just using my acrylic block for these smaller stamp sets. I'm still getting great impressions because I'm using the matte in my Misty, which is a huge help and totally awesome. And then I am just scattering some of these flowers and some leaves. Now that I have all the stamping done, I'm going to fussy cut. So I have stamped out my title. I have stamped out lots of these smaller floral and branch images from the different stamp sets. And once I have them fussy cut, we can go ahead and put this layout all together. I have been creating a lot of very kind of bright, cheerful layouts recently, and it was super nice and almost like a little bit of like a color palette cleanser to create this layout using just these soft, neutral patterns and colors. I'm going to start with my blocks and kind of overlap them, but you can already see the difference that this layout, the different look that it takes on once you have added those organic shapes to your background, and how having those little guidelines there really helped me, because now those larger floral pieces are kind of sticking out and coming up from behind, giving my layout some extra layers and some extra interest. So I'm going to go ahead and continue on here, kind of overlapping and getting the pattern papers into place. You can kind of see I'm lifting some up, I'm putting some behind as I kind of decide where I like it. I want to make sure that like all the black and white pops aren't just at the top or all just at the bottom. So I'm making sure to alternate and have good distribution of all of the patterns. I overlapped my title so that I was able to fussy cut them out just as 3 words, and I don't need any journaling space on this particular layout. I don't really have a date or anything for this photo. I know who's in the photo, and this is going to kind of start a section of my heritage album, so that this will be almost like a title page, and then as you turn the page, there will be more photos of these same family members and a little bit more journaling about them. Once I have my title into place, I can just go ahead and tuck in all of these fussy cut embellishments. So again, the idea is that I have these florals in the background. I want to pull some of the florals in to the front. I stamped an even number of these pieces on craft cardstock and on white cardstock, and that's going to allow me to create these little clusters that have some white and some of the craft, and have these stamped images be in some of the different colors of ink. And I think that adds a lot of interest to this page, even though there isn't a lot of color. and it is all done in neutrals, I think that it still looks really soft, but not boring, very interesting. So once I have those kind of clusters all into place, our layout for today is done. Here are all of the close-ups. I hope you have a wonderful Tuesday, and I will see you again tomorrow. If you are interested in any of the products that I used, anything that is still available in the store will be linked in the comments down below, along with the discount code. Oh my goodness, I can't talk. See you later. Bye.